Hello and welcome to the Writing Gals Trope Talk. Today, I forgot who I am. I'm Victorine,
I'm Michelle.
and today we're talking about bad boys.
You
And
were
you
just
know we
excited.
love a good bad boy.
You just wanted to get right into the topic
I know.
today.
I was like, oh, bad boys. Yay, let's talk about it. All right. So, have you written any bad boy tropes?
I've written a lot of them, actually. I have
Nice.
The Bad Boy's Good Girl, which is a young adult romance I wrote with Cookie O'Gorman. I
Oh,
have Flirting with the Bad Boy, which is another young adult. I love young adult bad
I
boys.
know. They just really work really well with young adult.
Yeah. In fact, I don't think I've written very many adult bad
I
boys.
haven't either. Mine is a YA too, and it's Don't Fall for Trouble.
Oh, I
So
like that.
that one was a really fun one to write.
Hey, I think we have a challenge that we both need to write an adult bad boy.
I think that is a great challenge. Let's
I
do
have
it.
it. I'm writing it down. I'm trying to make my list of projects for this year.
Nice.
And so I think I'm going to consider that one a little bit. Okay. So some of my favorite bad boy romances, like in movies and stuff. Um, so there's 10 Things I Hate About You. He's
Mm,
definitely a bad boy. He's the guy who doesn't care about school, doesn't care about anything, and
yes.
seen as like the bad student and all that sort of stuff. There's Titanic because Jack is like the poor guy, who's like just trouble himself, comes from
Yes.
the wrong side of the tracks and all kinds of stuff like that. And then there's The Notebook, which is kind of
Yeah.
the same like class situation. And so my favorite like C-drama bad boy is one called Amidst a Snowstorm of Love. It's
Ah.
on Netflix. I'm currently rewatching it because I just could not help myself. It's got Leo Wu in it, who is his last name where um he's good looking, but he's just got this amazing way of expressing absolute attraction through his eyes, like with
Nice.
his gaze. Like
Yes.
the way he looks at his leading lady just like sells it.
I love
Um,
that.
but in this one, it's really interesting because it's like a billiards, like I don't know, professional billiards, snooker, nine
Hmm.
ball, like all these different sports, which I knew very little about. And so it's in that professional circle. And he was accused of cheating in a game. He was like the star of international tournaments and had like it was like ranked number one and all this sort of stuff. And then he was like accused of cheating and like walked away from it all because he was so like mad and everybody's had like hard feelings towards him. He's got made all these best friends who are now his enemies and like this whole circle. Like so he's angry, he's out to prove himself. Everybody thought he wasn't worth anything without a cue stick in his hand and like all this stuff. So he's a sunder, which is the best kind of bad boy. So
Yeah.
like the cold character that doesn't talk a lot,
Yes.
that and like doesn't have any warmth to them or like anything. So that's who he is. And then it's one of the only love at first sight stories that I just love. I usually don't like them, but I love this one. So he falls in love immediately upon seeing this girl, and she is the younger cousin of one of his enemies. And that's one of the things with a bad boy romance that I wanted to bring about is that the point of them being a bad boy is that nobody can like want them to be together.
Right.
Like you don't want the girl to be with this bad boy. He's trouble. He's going to pull her down. He's going to ruin her life. He's not going to do anything good for her. And then all these people who love the girl and she's their princess and they want to take care of her and protect her, they do not want her to be with this guy.
Yep.
Everybody in society, everybody around town, everybody at school, no, like, everybody is against
So it's a
for
little bit of a forbidden romance trope in that.
I
Yes.
really think so, and then you just have to figure out, okay, so if he's so awful, why does she want to be with him?
Yes. So
So
I thought of several. Grease,
oh,
Dirty
yeah.
Dancing,
Mhm.
and, oh, just Princess Leia and Han Solo are the perfect example of that.
Very true, very true. He's like the smuggler and she's the princess.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. So, the thing with the bad boy is, like, I guess if you write dark romance, you can play with the line a little bit, but he can't really be a bad boy. Like, he can't be evil. He can't.
Yeah, don't make him too bad,
Right,
unlikably bad, right?
right.
He's gotta have vulnerabilities. He's gotta have a reason why he acts the way he does, so some
Yeah,
kind of trauma in his past.
he has to be hurting inside, hurting
Yes,
in a way that only she can heal.
yes, exactly.
He has to have a heart of gold,
Yes.
and he has to have been unfairly judged by the world for some reason.
Yeah, I like that.
Um, so, like, one of the things is that he's going to have, like, all of his, like, sarcasm, his coldness, him being rude, him, like, being like, making bad choices is like a protective shell that he
Yep,
has to, hide his, his anger or the fact that he cares about what people think about
mhm.
him. And so it's all a way to protect himself after he's been hurt.
Yeah,
Um, and somehow the girl manages to break through his shell,
yeah,
and he just can't help but, you know, protect her
yeah.
and want to
That's a
be with her.
great thing is that protectiveness in the
Yes,
bad boy. That makes you really like him, right? You gotta
yes,
find reasons to make him likable, and protectiveness is
mhm,
definitely one of them.
exactly. And I think it also helps if he's really good at something. So,
Yes.
like, in the one I was talking about, "Midst a Snowstorm of Love," he's really, really good at his sport, right? Um,
Mhm.
so it's good if he's got something he's really competent at, and if he's, like, not only protective of her, but, like, will do absolute anything for her.
Yes.
Anything. Like, if she so much as lets her eye linger on something, he must get it for her. If
Yes.
she one time expresses that something is good, like, for dinner, like, that's what she has to have whenever she wants it.
And it's
You know?
almost this dichotomy because he's so protective of her, yet he usually has some kind of dangerous, streak in him. Like he
Yes.
runs with the dangerous crowd, but oh, I'm going to protect her from these dangerous
Yes,
people. Or he
yes,
rides a motorcycle, but he's protective of her, in some
yes.
way. So
Protective to the point where he agrees with everybody that she can't be with him.
yeah, I've seen that too, where he agrees. I'm no good for you, right? That kind of
Right.
trope.
And then what the switch is that you have to get to if you go that direction is there has to come a point at which he's like, "I can't live without her."
Yes.
And, like, and she keeps getting herself in more trouble because she's so determined to be with me. So
Yes.
now I have to prove to the world that I'm good for her, that I'm good
Yes.
enough for her. And that is a, trigger for him to change his life, to set up, set in motion the things that he needs to do to take care of her, to be with her, and to prove that, even if nobody else thinks that he can be right for her, that he is. And I think it's the extremes of action that the bad boy will go through to prove himself or to make himself who he needs to be that is ultimately most attractive about him.
Yes. So,
So,
we've hinted at this, but let's come out and say it. The female really should be the opposite of him,
yeah,
right? She needs to be more innocent. She
yeah,
needs to be, um, someone who is a rule follower if he's a rule
yes,
breaker,
and
so
really
they need this
warm.
contrast between the 2.
Yes, and just think of her as kind of like the princess, the good student, the, warm, friendly something. Um,
Yes.
There also needs to be a little bit of the she's not like all the other girls kinda thing.
Yes.
Something that just because why didn't he do this for any other girl?
Yeah.
Like, she's not the first girl he's run into. So what there has to be something about her. She's not just like Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Like, there's some kind of fire about her, something that's intriguing
And she needs to
about
kind
her.
of change as she associates with them to
Yeah,
maybe take a chance, maybe break a rule, maybe be a little rebellious too.
yeah. And she definitely needs to defend her man.
Yeah.
Like, when everybody else is against them, she has to be fighting tooth and nail for, um, the right for them to be together, for everybody to think better about him, or for her to
Mhm.
be like, just in general, like, "I don't have to fall in line with your expectations or requirements of me. I get to choose what I want to do with my life and who I want to be with." And
Mhm.
that will be something new for her, something she's never done before.
Yes.
Yeah, which is amidst the snowstorm of love, she's been, training to play the sport herself her whole life. So she's lived this very regimented, very professional type life, and so the fact that she starts kind of, um, deciding she's going to go be with the guy that everybody, because they have, like, competing sports teams, and so the guy she's falling for is in a different sports team than the one she's in, like, professional thing, and,
Mm.
so it's, like, a big deal for her to step away from, like, her family-run business, like, team to go be with this other guy. So, that is one of the things that we talked about what she had to do, but one thing that I think is important for revealing his character that I was gonna get to earlier is there usually has to be somebody else that sees his goodness besides her. Like, he has because that's like social proof
Yeah.
that even though lots of other people think he's this terrible person, there are other people that see who he really is, see his goodness.
So in
Um,
mine, he's got a little sister that adores him. So
right,
yeah, do something like that where someone else
yeah.
sees his value too.
A child, a pet. Like, they always say that dogs are the best judges of character.
Yes.
People that they work with, teachers at school, like, there needs to be somebody rooting for them, somebody
Yeah.
that sees his goodness, his potential, and are in his corner,
Mhm.
because that helps prove to the reader that even if he's being really mean in some ways to the, female protagonist, that he's worth it, like, that they
Yeah.
should go ahead and root for him, because that's what we have to figure out in a bad boy romance. We have to, at once, make it seem realistic that everybody truly does think that they're a bad guy, that it makes sense, and it's not just it's one of those tropes you can't just say it's a bad boy trope and then not actually make them very like bad, rebellious, you know, troublemaker kind of thing. Like, you have to follow through and make it what it is. So you
Yes.
have to make it believable while making the reader still want to root for them.
Yes.
And that's a
Make him
fine
a
line.
sympathetic character. Yeah, that's harder.
It's harder. And I think it really, really helps if you can have another character besides their love interest who is rooting for them and sees the good in them, because then the
Yeah.
reader's like, "Well, if that person can see it, then I'll trust that
Well, and
you're gonna."
and he you show him being kind to his dog or
Yes,
kind to his little sister
yes.
or, loving to his grandmother, that kind of thing.
And I love it when it's just in little signs. It's not overt.
Yes.
Sometimes it's even begrudging.
Yes.
Um, I have this thing I've talked about before, a love soda. Where my brother-in-law will, like, figure out your favorite drink, and he'll just, like, quietly bring you one. Like, he'll
Yeah.
go stop by the gas station and, like, get you your favorite drink. I started calling him love sodas because it's the way he expresses his love. So, that is what I call just, like, these little signs that somebody not only cares about you, but enough to notice the things that you like, and
Yes.
just quietly and unobtrusively make sure you have that as a sign of, like, I like you,
Yeah.
and I care about you, I respect you, I want you to have these good things. And so your bad boy needs to be giving your love interest, love sodas throughout the
Yes.
story, just like these little signs. It might be him like holding a door open for her. It might be making sure she buttons her coat. It might be making sure that the tires in her car aren't flat, or just like, and just quietly doing it, not making a big fanfare of it, just little things that she starts to realize that he does for her all the time,
Yeah.
or that she found out that he did and like didn't tell her, like behind the scenes things he's doing for her. And those are the things that are going to prove that he is totally committed to her. And that's
Yes.
my favorite part of the bad boy romance. Is
My favorite part is when he finally lets his walls down and you see his vulnerability and he, explains maybe some of his troubled past to his love interest, and he becomes that soft teddy bear that he is deep down inside.
Yes, and taking that, like, the step further, my favorite part is when he is just all of a sudden all in.
Yeah.
Like, he holds back, he holds back, he holds back, and then at some point, he is all in, and once your bad boy with all of his fire, all of his steely determination, all of his, like, attitude, once he is all in, you better stand back because that boy is going to be, like, the best lover ever.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
considerate. And it could almost get to the point where it was really unhealthy. If she was the kind of person who would take advantage of someone, and it was somebody who would like anything she wants, anything she needs, I will give her the world. It
Yeah.
could get really bad, but she's obviously not that kind of person, so it works. But
Yes.
yes, I love it when the bad boy is suddenly all in pursuing being with this girl that he realizes he cannot live without, and she is his whole world.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I love when you mix in the she fell first, but he fell harder
Yes.
trope with the bad
Yes.
boy.
That's
Mhm.
good too.
Yep.
I thought of another example, A Walk to Remember.
Oh,
That
yeah.
one has a really great character arc for the bad boy.
It does.
So,
It
I love it when they have good character
I
arcs.
stumbled into that one the other day and watched, like, a clip from it, but I haven't watched the whole thing. That is a good one.
Oh, you haven't watched it? That's a good
Not
one.
I mean, I have been, like, not
Not
since
in
I was,
years.
like, 16 or something.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Ah. So, what are we talking about next time?
Next week, we are talking about Grumpy Sunshine.
Oh,
This is a great trope. I love this trope too.
we
I
get
love them all.
way enthusiastic about all of these.
But this will be a really fun one to showcase the two opposites,
Yes,
and how they attract.
yes,
And if you haven't checked out our academy, I have a link down in the description below. It is a collection of classes that the writing gals have done from past conferences that are excellent. It talks about writing and marketing and all of the things that you need to know in order to be a successful indie author. And it's only $9.95 a month, and you can check out the link below to look at the list of classes and all of that.
yep, it's an amazing resource, and we're excited to share it with you, and we, also invite you to join our Facebook group, The Writing Gals, and we want you to subscribe too because we're gonna keep these trip talks coming, and we may be doing some other videos this year too. We don't want you to miss any of it, so we
Yes,
hope you'll join us.
subscribing is free, and it's just a great way to support us. So thank
Mhm.
you.
Alright, it's been great talking about bad boys.
Yes. All right. See you next week.
Bye.